So you can just point out, we're going to shoot you guys and we're going to get a shot of this. So
Yeah, the first tee right here. See where the flag is down there?
Mhm.
That's your first tee. You see the knoll, it's got your dip into it? The creature was standing, or whatever it was standing there, it was silhouetted on that knoll right there. And Clifford Spark was going along the bottom part of that knoll there after shutting off the sprinkler systems that night. And he's then sitting in his golf cart, and of course he's looking up at it. And this, whatever he's looking at is about 7 to 8 foot tall, and it started screaming. You know, he returned and he ran into the wood line that borders, the golf course there. And Clifford said, "These damn golf carts only go so fast." So they scared each other anyways. But that was the first sighting, and to kind of connect that together is right up here. This is Keysboro Mountain. We're not going to walk up there. We just don't have enough time. To me, it's more important to get Brian Gosling's statement. Because you want to lose that one. But I can, kind of stand off to one side. That's the mountain range. And I can point out. See, this is a body impression right here. This young man, he's 6 foot tall, and he's dwarfed by it. I was impressed by what I seen. He was one of 4 hikers that was hiking up that mountain trail, and they kept finding periodically partial footprints of a naked foot. And going up that trail is pretty well washed out. We had heavy rain last night, so the time I was going there, we had rain the night before, and it was raining later that day. All that debris is being washed down the mountain trail, all that sand and all. And so they kept periodically finding partial footprints or a full footprint, and they were saying between 14 15 inches long. So when they got to like a little area where it flattened off a little bit, they looked off to the side of the trail, and this is where they noted this huge form where something laid in like a fetal position, but not exactly a fetal position like a human, but similar is only probably the best way to describe it. So he lays down beside of it so the picture could be taken. So you can see he's dwarfed. This object laid here is like 3 times the size of a normal man. This would be the head, this would be part of the arm, this would be part of the torso as it goes down towards the leg, and this is the direction it was laying. Can you make that out? Can you get in on it, or?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can square it off a little better for you. So I sent a copy of this photograph to John Green, and he reviewed it, and he says, they often heard about body impressions where something very heavy is laid, but that was really the first photograph he's seen, as a person, as a reference to the size of the impression.
And this is right up over those.
That's right. It's on this mountain range. This is called Keysboro Mountain, and we're standing at the foot of it right here on the golf course. So there's several different incidents that took place in a short span of time. So that was in May 1975. It was seen here on the golf course, and in July 4th, 1997, the impression was found at the top of the mountain, or almost the top. I would say a little about midway. So, but there's also evidence where it had walked off and went into the woods a ways and stood next to a tree, where it could actually view both sides of the trail coming north and south. This is like the northwest side of the mountain we're looking at right now, where we're standing beside. So it had an excellent view of both sides of the trail. So if anybody was coming or going, you could watch, that movement.
Great.
Okay. That would take these 2 sides for you now. And if we go over the Aviator Road, there's so much happening. My God, 3 different police agencies involved. That was in August 24th, 1976. And then the next night, on the 25th, Brian had his sighting. Took the crap off the state trooper. The state trooper took off and left him. State troopers on one side of the field, Brian's on the other. And I just give you a brief breakdown on it there, kind of set it up for him. Brian's in his private car. He's off duty. He's trying to get physical clear. He wants to take it down. Riding force, he got the police to go out there on the 24th. He had his brother and another boy on his side. And the motivation to go and check that story out. So the next night, spotlight, not his headlight, a spotlight that he had on his car, and it was illuminating in front of him, screaming his hands in front of his face. His hands, lack of a better word. He said, I'm out of the vehicle, I'm on my knee, I'm in a firing position, my arms fully extended to the open window on the driver's side. I asked, why didn't you shoot? He said, look, too human. What did they do? He stood there and screamed at the top of his lungs. So I believe 100% he actually seen what he did. And he's really the cement. This really holds the whole thing together, because everything after that we just kind of build on.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a real strong case there. So we can go down and nail him down and be to our advantage. I said somewhere between 11 and 12 we would be there, and it takes probably a good half an hour or approximately that to get to his house.
Okay, so what time is it now?
I just forget you pointing
A couple of minutes
to the
after
spot one
11.
at a time.
That's what, okay. So whenever you guys
This is about the first tee we're pointing to there. And you can see the knoll tapers down. This is where the golf cart was, right at the bottom of that there. And the owner of this golf course was looking up, and he seen the creature fully silhouetted in the night sky, and eventually went off screaming into that patch of woods behind there. Okay? And, everyone says it does and it doesn't, and they make that perfectly clear that this is not 100% accurate.
Right.
But it is a standing something, and you can see it's got buttocks. All these things you pointed out. Of course, the arms are down past the knees. But here you're looking at the face. He's seen no face, so you really can't, describe anything there except the large, bulging eyes he talked about.
And he wouldn't shoot it because it was too human.
That's right. That's what he told me. He also said you would have to be there to understand. So his statement is really vital to the whole, everything that went on here in the Northeast is going on now. Really, you can owe it to Brian Gosling. He was so persistent, and like I said, he's the nuts and bolts, and really cemented, really held everything together, and he's the moving force that got those officers to go out there. He said, you guys get the hell out there. He said, there's something going on. And that, I think it took 2 or 3 trips here of the boys there to get them motivated enough to do that.
What did the police actually submit as a report?
Well, you got to remember, and I can't really say this on camera.
Well, I won't put it in the zone. Yeah, my word.
They were told more or less to shut up. Their jobs are in jeopardy, not to talk about it. This is something all of us know, but you can very well say it without ruffle some feathers. I can tell you off on the record, as long as that's not running.
Yeah.
That state trooper was in that field beside Brian Gosling. Actually, he had to lead the force. He's now a judge in the upstate further.
Wow. He's not
they
gonna
made it
talk
really
about that.
really rough for him.
He's not going to want to talk
But
about
he
that.
didn't. No. In fact, he didn't even want to talk to Brian about what happened here. But he well aware of it. Brian said to this day, I don't know what he's seen. He says, I know what I seen. So,
Wow.
But he says he left the field before I did. Whatever it was scared the crap out of him. He just went tearing out of there. So I didn't catch up with him. There used to be a silver diner up here in Whitehall. It's just about where we turned in next to the light to come in here. He said that's where I finally caught up with him. So what he's seen, he said he will never tell me. But all the officers face that. Deputy sheriffs, state police, all of them face the same thing. Losing their jobs, they talked about. And I had a hell of a job just trying to get these people to talk to me. And it wasn't for Brian to kind of motivate them to talk to me, and because I was going to write a book at some point in time. And they finally, really gave in. One of the deputy sheriffs named Glenn LaRose, he's one of the ones that found 2 tracks, down along the Putney River. And they were exceptionally large, 19 inches long, exceptionally large. And it was one of 3 prints found, and they casted the best of the 3. And typical New York weather, we had a lot of rain, and water was dripping off in the leaves, and it caused a little small drippage in each one of the tracks. So then when he casted it, that picked that up. So it wasn't a pure cast in any sense at all. So there's also evidence along the Putney River there where the thing was physicked by cornfield, how they call it, field corn. And they figured that might have been part of the major diet that they had.
We got a guy in Louisiana I want to talk to as soon as he's seen it over 20 times.
I love them.
It's going to be interesting.
I'd give it to see him once.
Think you can get a solid picture. Well, what's that one guy's name? Dallas Gilbert.
I have his name written down somewhere.
Dallas Gilliam?
Yeah. Is he crazy?
Anytime somebody says they've seen it more than a few times, I start to scratch my head and wonder about. Because these creatures are not like that. They don't want to be seen. You know, the way they camouflage themselves, and the reason why people haven't seen them is because one could be standing right out there right now, but it's standing so still that, and close enough to a tree that it just blends in. We would never know it.
That's true. You know, I'm staying around that. I stood up in that next to that T1, and I shot to the trees back here at the golf course. That's where they said they were hearing vocalization, up in that general area. And just standing there, I said, "Geez, no one would ever know I'm standing here." This is in the fall of the year. And there was just enough leaves around me. I mean, heck, I was completely concealed. If anybody standing this distance would never see me, that's for sure.
And the evidence that just, they either move tree to tree, or they're often seen, just swaying right back and forth by trees. It's just 99% of the time, if you're in the woods just walking around, hiking, fishing, you're not going to really notice things like
That's
that.
right. This is I don't know if you can make this out. You can make out a partial put. This is at the bottom of Carver's Falls. Carver's Falls, it's along the Poultney River, and this is on the New York side. And then the falls was pretty well dried up at that particular time we were there. Just a trickle and very little water left inside this bed. But the ground was hard, dry, hard clay. And they found the small outline of a print, and they put their foot next to it for comparison. And you can see just the big toe. There's nothing that was casted or anything like that. They could never do it. It wasn't that good. That's not, none of the ones the other ones I was speaking about were found on a sandbar, the other three.
I want to see this one more time.
Which one?
Get a better shot of this.
This
yeah.
here? You want to go in the shade and do it? Maybe that would be better.
Well, we can actually shoot it at your house. Just want to get a quick shot of you holding it.
I've seen this before. Can I see that one?
That's the Mayaka. We don't know if that's real or not.
That's in Florida, right?
Yeah.
That's a shot. The money shot.
Tell me I don't have. There it is. This is what I believe to be a partial print up in Buck Mountain. This was taken a couple of months after the incident. So you can see it appears to be a heel. Just over there was a small hill, so something really came off that hill. That ground is so hard I couldn't even make an impression with my foot, and I have a size 10 foot. It's a size 10 boot, and that's the toe to the heel. So, yeah. And I did find some I don't know if I can get these in. I did find some rock formations, or not rock formations, but another type of this bottom picture that was found in there very close by to that area off the trail, about 150 yards in. Just appeared very odd. There was a lot of sticks that were no hunter would have done it because there's nothing in there but rocks. And that's the general vicinity of the area where the encounter occurred. Don't look at those.
That's what Brian said.
That's more BFRO confidence.
He said, that ground was so hard. He says, they couldn't leave an impression. I tried to press a stone in, my foot, and I couldn't do it. I could beat on it, and I couldn't leave no impression. It bruised the ground, or the soil, but other than that, that's all I was doing.
It's actually a photocopy of my article when I went when I actually got the footprint and the snap tray when I went to the last time I was out there. That was the very rough copy. You guys will get that was the pictures that appear in the paper of the print on the snap twig, or snap tree, you should say.
We gotta get some permission to use the Patterson film. I'm wondering what kind of.
Who owns the copyrights to that now?
Mrs. Patterson.
Is there?
She
one?
got it
Pretty
back?
sure-
I know Renee there, he always said he had it and it was always questionable,
You know what she charges?
No problem.
I think it's just, gotta pay it. I know what it is, I guess. I can't have Bigfoot movie.
Well, this is a for-profit venture, I take it. Then,
Yes.
yeah. So you can skate around some of it, like if somebody puts it on the website, well, it's copyright infringement. But there's a law written that if it's used for nonprofit and educational purposes only, I forget what federal is, a federal section of the law that says it's used for educational nonprofit purposes. It's basically public domain.
We get a shot of that sign.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should get a sign. Yeah, I gotta take a picture of it too.
absolutely.
There wasn't room for that. This one just real little golf cart like streaming away. A little artistic creation. It doesn't look too heavy. He's having a bad day. That's because he triple bogeyed on the first hole.
The police department said that you're gonna lose your job if you
Did
don't.
you switch tapes at some point?
Yes. The police department said if you.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think when I came out, I ended up coming out down where we.
Yeah. See, we're talking away, there's, the other road that comes up alongside that church there. That's just start being turned, You want to shoot that first? There'll be nothing without him. Yeah, he's the one that actually had the sighting. He's the one that actually put this whole thing into work. He's the one that got the state police office, the sheriff, and got the local PD down there. And get the hell out of there. Something going on.
He actually had the sighting over here.
Right at the road. That's the old family homestead right there. Up there, the old structure there.
It's on A&E, right?
Yeah.
I did, yeah, I think I saw that.
I know there was some certain people within the organization that was not too pleased the way how it turned out. It was just
Yeah.
too short. It was too.
Too short.
Is that where the Native American is walking and he thinks he sees one?
No, that was one of the Bigfoot documentaries. Remember we
I
read
think that was the A&E
It's
one.
basically about Autumn Williams there.
Yeah.
It really focused on her, is what it amounted to, I mean, they took things all out of perspective, and
Yeah.
I mean, going up in the woods there with one of those four-wheel drive vehicles there, a little what do they call those things? Those all-terrain vehicles.
Quad.
Now,
Yeah, this thing had everything on it.
but the minute you take an ATV into the woods, I mean, you think anything's gonna stick around?
That's right.
Did you see Sasquatch Odyssey?
Yes.
What'd you think of that?
Very interesting. It chronicles a lot of the infighting, I think, between them, which is unfortunate, and it still goes on to some extent today. I try to stay clear of it. I mean, I was an independent investigator for a long time, and I hear a lot of people left and right say, "Oh, BFRO is bad news. BFRO is bad news." I found them to be nothing but a bunch of great, welcoming people who, like to hear things from the independents as well. And, take a pitch stop on nearby a dead end road. They pull up the dead end road, get out. One gets out on one side of the woods, one gets on the other side of the woods. One kid comes back in the car, and his friend comes bolting out of the woods, banging on the door, and he locked the door as a joke. He's like, "No, open the woods, open the door, open the door. There's something big out here." So he got in the car with him. And what's the matter? He goes, "Just get out of here. Just get out of here. Just get out of here." And he turns on the headlights of the car, and there's this thing standing there in front of the car, just looking at him, and just kind of turns and walks away. They bolted out of there. So the one kid that he was with will not talk about it. Said I saw something, but I'm not. I can't talk about it.
So where's been the most interesting? Ohio?
Well, we were up in there's a place called, what's it called? Something Rock.
Salt Fork.
Salt Fork Park, yeah.
State park.
And they found some interesting trees bent over formations. And that was definitely interesting. We walked through the woods for a good 6-7 hours. They've had a lot of sightings around there. That was
Honestly,
interesting.
the last
Well,
tree that you guys showed us.
You were in Orange
was
County.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
You were in Orange County and you found those deer bones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No. Was that not Orange County?
Well, it was down by
It was
Newburgh.
Catskill.
Was it Catskill?
It's Catskill. Yeah, I did do that. Yeah. Found a, it was like a triangle formation of deer hair. And it wasn't scattered. It was a circular, each formation was a circular, but it was in a triangular pattern. And it was like something, or some things had actually devoured, partaken, right there. It was interesting. No bones or anything.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reports of deer liver being taken.
Mhm.
Finding carcasses of deer liver,
Removed.
just the liver itself. And you know, from all the reading I've done, deer liver is an incredible source of protein and energy. And there's been reports I've heard of you know, stalking deer,
Stockpiling deer.
stockpiling deer. Honobia, I want to say Honobia, Arkansas. There was a big case where there was some consistent sightings, and these guys were shooting deer from their porch. That type of community, and they couldn't understand why these creatures weren't afraid of the guns, and they thought they were basically under attack themselves from these things. And the thing was, is they understood that when they heard gunshots, that means there was deer being dropped, and their deer lockers had been raided, and you know they've often shot down deer, and when they go out to get it, it's gone. And what they think they were doing was laying in wait, waiting for a gunshot. Take a look around. Oh, there's a deer. Gone.
Interesting. Different.
Yeah. Therefore, I was sent some investigators down actually to look at it, and they had some very strange things go on down there.
No place has anything stranger than Pennsylvania. There's always something strange there.
You guys gonna make it down to Falk?
To where?
Falk?
Where's that?
Arkansas.
Yeah, Texas
Polk.
can.
We're going.
Arkansas.
We're gonna try to talk to Smokey.
Monkey's
Sorry,
Crabtree.
Crabtree.
Smoky Crabtree.
Yeah.
Well, that's what got me started in this. Was when I must have been
The
about
creature of Bogey Creek.
I must have been
really?
about 6 years old when I saw that, and forever it just ingrained in me that, you know, this is interesting. And you know, as a little kid, you get scared, but as you become an adult, you realize and you start to rationalize a little differently. And here I am, 30 years later, I'm poking around.
That's right. Going back to the kid stage again.
Yeah, poking around like with a stick. You know, what's this?
Wait, the dogs are barking. We have activity.
Yeah.
We have humidity.
A friend of mine's, he's seen that movie too, Creature of Bogey Creek. His name was Dick Newman. Funnier than hell he was. And the neighbor's dog got lost, you know, and they asked him how to look for it. And, you know, there's, you know, woods around this place, a little swamp that doesn't amount to nothing, you know. And this is around dusk. He's wandered out there a ways, and all of a sudden the thought hits him, what the hell am I doing out here? The monster of Bogey Creek. Streak out of there, you know. You almost had to clean my pants. You know, it's one of those things.
Yeah, when I did the Buck Mountain trip the first time around, it was. I got up to one point where it was just so quiet that, you know, I felt like I was being watched. I mean, my hair literally stood in the back of my neck. I said, "Up, time to get out of here."
It's kind of hard to do. You don't have much back there.
Well, yeah. Well, back then they did.
I didn't even
that-
think of that.
Yeah.
You know, my wife always says if anybody ever wants to see a real life Sasquatch, just have me take my shirt off and run through the woods.
I know it.
I think we can tell Paul he doesn't have to answer that message.
No, his car's not here today.
I get you.
I didn't know if his girlfriend might have been here. You know, a lot of people don't always, pick up the phone here because it's damn people still listening now. But nobody came to the door, so I met his wife or his girlfriend just once. I think Brian's been married at least 3 times.
So it's
Hey, come on.
the cherry red, right? No, I just sing, but I got a guitar. I'm learning. You know, I don't know any chords yet though. I looked at that guitar. I was like, that just makes me want to fucking urinate. No, I hadn't seen one of these.
Yeah,
That's a Fernando.
I saw it.
Wow.
I worked at a music store in Boston. I saw it. It's like 130 bucks a page. It's like tickets to distortion, like
Fat sound.
pretty cool. You can get it to feedback and everything.
That is cool.
Yeah.
130 bucks.
I sold it to Pat when I was in dire need of money for $100.
So here's a sample.
Oh, this is it?
Can I tell you about Sasquatch?
Huh? I tried to separate the two.
Where is the beat?
I could eat.
Drummer.
Awesome.
He's a jazz. Used to be a jazz drummer.
Really? Oh, I can hear the jazz in it. So you guys just cut this to full length?
June.
You put it out on a label or just
Private, independent. Pardon the language.
You guys play live around the area?
We're playing September 4th with Saratoga Winners, which is one of the 2 local venues. I think that's a national action. They had Zombie there.
Sounds great. Yeah, it sounds cool.
Little beatbox action there. We just screwing around one day and it turned out to be a song.
Now I want to hear No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Nah. I should use a Digitech effects pedal.
So you'll go crazy on stage?
Yeah, my little break comes down to here. My stage will dry.
Not much?
Three-piece. But they've been together 2 years in September.
You play with them too?
No.
They came by the house. We said they came back and jamming someplace.
Yeah, last night I met 4 guys. You know, they're all seasoned players, and we gelled, and we're on. We're playing out in probably a month. Yeah. Definitely cool. I'm psyched. We play classic. It's awesome. The music that means something. Right?
Must be
Yeah, we're not gonna do any Johnny Cash, but you know.
Yeah, Johnny Cash. Huh?
Johnny Cash.
Oh my God. You don't do that, do you?
No.
No, all right.
I think I could.
Or all the fishing trips I used to go on with the guys. You know, one guy, I mean, that's the only music we played.
Country?
Oh God, I used to be up to here with it, you know.
I love it.
6 or 7 o'clock in the
Gotta
morning.
respect him.
He's getting us up there. I hear that train a coming or some
Yep.
other freaking thing, you know. I go, oh,
The Man in
Jesus,
Black.
Shut that thing off.
Last 4 albums you did, were you hearing any of those?
No, I hadn't.
They're fucking
Really?
awesome. They're all covers. They're all awesome. He does a YouTube cover.
I did read that. And I read it. Yeah. And I did read the reviews on it, and very favorable.
Unbelievable.
Very favorable.
Unbelievable.
Action.
There he is.
That is such a point blank fucking joke. It's unreal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not looking to do
Making me
anything
look
that.
like I was a coward with a gun.
No, we're not looking for any reenactments or anything.
Oh no. That's, I'm just saying. I mean, these people were that whole thing with those people were to make her look good. That's it. 90%. Well, what is it? 75% of what should have been in there wasn't even in.
That's right.
You know, it's funny. Matt Moneymaker, head of BFRO, is.
Well, I had it out with him too.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't very happy with the production of the film either.
I told him, I said, if you people are that goddamn cheap that you can't give me a tape, I said, I'll send you the goddamn money. I said, I want a tape. I had it 2 days later in, what, the air thing there, Air Express?
Yeah, but
Bunch of crooks. As far as I'm concerned, a bunch of crooks. And like a damn fool, I signed that contract without looking at it. And I was a damn fool. You should have talked to me first.
I know it.
But anyway.
But like I told them, you know, they're lucky to get you to do this, you know, and so where you want to shoot it, you know, this is where the road, his brother and Marty Paddock, probably can't use Marty Paddock's name or Paul's name because, you know, we don't have permission, but this is the road they were coming down.
So Brian, this is where your sighting occurs, right here, right?
Yeah, the original sighting was right there at that telephone pole. Right in this general area right here. My sighting was in that meadow. Right there.
Okay, if you could just walk us through exactly what happened.
Well, Bill can do the part with Marty and Paul better than I can. Because they talk to him. I know my side, but I know their side too to an extent, but Bill will be better off telling you exactly the way it went because he's got it straight up there.
The boys are coming down the road here. They had a green pickup truck. They're going on an outing that night, and they heard a scream coming from this side of the road, which would be my right. They didn't know if it was a woman screaming in distress or a pig squeal, as the way they described it. So they went down the road and they turned around, and they have now pulled over to the side over here. His brother Paul was looking off to his right towards that telephone pole, and he seen movement. And the movement started moving towards the truck, and he blurted out, "Marty, get the hell out of here." I later measured 57 feet of rubber as the truck fishtailed up the road. They went back and they notified the authorities. Authorities wanted to know what the hell he was smoking, didn't believe a word
That was
they
me.
said.
I was the authority.
You were the authority, I know. And actually, I told you before, he was the driving force. It actually got the police officers to come out here, sheriff, state, and local PD. So, on the third trip out here, you got a group of people who've seen either movement, vocalizations, and told to keep quiet about it. So his father, Wilford, was the sergeant. Went out into the field a short distance with Paul. A vocalization emanated from that side of the field over here, enough so strong that they retreated. A state trooper, a deputy sheriff, was going along the hedgerow up through there, the tree line, spotting it with a spotlight and blurted out, "What the hell was that?" and later had to deny it. So there was always something going on, and we had 3 separate police agencies here. You had probably the total of 7 or 8 people.
6, 7.
So So 7 people at least was here to witness this. So beyond that, maybe we ought to have, that was taken on August 24th, 1976. The following night, which is August 25th, Brian had his encounter there.
I was the only reason I wasn't out here the first night is because I was on duty. These guys came in to me, and like Bill said, I said, "What the hell, you being my brother?" I said, "What are you guys smoking and drinking? What the hell you doing?" And they were, I mean, these guys, you could see it in their face, they were dead serious. I mean, they were scared to death, actually. But anyway, the next night, it just happened to be my night off. Happened to be a Tuesday night. That's the only night off I had through the week. So Jim Donovan, state trooper, I got a hold of him. I said, "Come on, let's go out and see what we can come up with." Well, we come out here. It was well, actually, just the way this meadow is exactly the way that meadow was. This grass, tall grass like this, and it was a cool night. And Jim, you guys just should come around that corner up there. As you come around the corner, see how that wood line, that tree line goes recessive. Well, state trooper was parked up in that meadow, maybe 50 yards off the road, pointed this way. I drove right out. Of course, this house wasn't here. I drove right out in this meadow, and was probably out there maybe 70, 80 feet from the road in. You gotta realize now the grass is this tall. Well, we're sitting here. I get myself all prepared, not expecting to see anything, but hoping like hell I will. Well, we sat out here for a while, and one of the first things I did was take my little dome light. I had a Monte Carlo. I had my own car. Took my dome light out so I could open my door and the lights didn't come on, the whole 9 yards. I got a 250,000 candle power spotlight. I've got that plugged in. I got my service revolver on my hip. And me and Jim were on a channel on the CB that nobody else, it was nice and quiet, so we jabbered back and forth. Probably sat here, I don't know, half an hour, 35, 40 minutes. And dead quiet in the country is dead quiet. And I mean dead quiet. No breeze, no nothing. And way down in the hedgerow, you could hear snap, crack. You could hear stuff breaking. Well, Jim's up in his field. Well, as it come up through, you could hear, I knew damn well there was something over in the hedgerow. See that second telephone pole up? That's where the top of that hedgerow right there. And Jim's roughly on the other side of that. And he gets on the CB. He said, Brian, he said, "There's something up here. There's something up here. Jesus Christ, Brian, there's something up here." And it's a state trooper on duty. He was gone like a bullet, blew ass down through here, and he went to the Silver Diner in Wayhall. I'm still sitting out here in the meadow. I can hear in the field is what I can hear maybe 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes after he left if you walk through that with corduroy pants on, that noise, whoosh, whoosh, that's what I could hear coming across the meadow. Now I'm not scared. I'm getting scared, but not scared enough to run away. And I'm sitting there, I can hear this thing getting closer and closer. When do I turn my lights on? When do I turn my lights on? I got to the point where it just stopped, and roughly, I flipped the light on. I had my door open. I was down like this, the spotlight in the hand and the gun up, right over my door. And when I turned the light on, it was roughly 25, 30 yards out. And all I can remember seeing something 7, 8 feet tall, broad-shouldered. But when I turned the spotlight on, the eyes were like a mayonnaise jar cover. Say if you took a tennis ball and cut it in half, that's how big around they were. All I can remember is red. Glowing red, just like the tip of your hat, glowing red. And it brought up what were like paws, but more like hands to me. Up like this, it covered its face and let out a freaking screech, man, hair up on the back of my head. And when they say, when you go through something close to death, that your life flashed before your eyes, you wouldn't believe the things that flashed before my eyes when I instantly saw that thing. It's there. The things that were running through my mind: kill it, don't kill it, going to jail for killing a man, because the big thing was Mac Dykle or Harry Dykle were both huge men. Harry was in his 70s, Mac was in his 70s, Harry was in his 60s. It wasn't a man in a monkey suit. It wasn't an escaped gorilla. It wasn't a chimpanzee. All I know is what I saw don't belong here. And it definitely was not a man. And anyway, when the thing put its paws up like this, it turned. It started going away. It showed me no threat. I don't know if it was wondering what the hell I was out in the field, what I was doing, or what. Because if it had kept coming, would I have shot? I don't know. Probably to protect myself, but I didn't see any aggression at all. It was more frightened of me than I was of it, probably. But when it turned, I can remember you could see the muscular cheeks of its buttocks. It was just like a weightlifter, like this. But on the back, it's like the hair, instead of going down, it was like going from the spine outward, from the bottom of the shoulder blades, rolling like this, and you could see it had laid down or fell down because it was clay, mud, matted, up and down through there. And it walked away. When it walked, it was like, it didn't run. It was just whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And it, well, went back into that corner. Maybe within a minute and a half, 2 minutes, it was back over in there. And I could hear it going down through the tree line right back to where it originally came from, in that direction. I don't remember if it was the next day or the following day. Myself and my brother Mike's boy, Jeff, I said, let's go down. I got to go take a walk down the Pontley River. This was in late afternoon because I worked 11 to 7 at night. So we went down to the West Haven Bridge down here, and this is prime country. You'd have to know what it looks like down in there. It's all clay banks on this side of the river and all meadow on that side. There's corn, there's wheat, there's oats, you name it. Well, we got walking up through. You have to go down a steep bank. There's a big marsh down there full of cattails. You go up another bank, and you got maybe 150, 200 yards of, I don't know what kind of weed it is, but it's like this. We're going through it like this. Then we start going up a bank, and it was a deer. I know it was a deer that let out a snort and a blow at the same time. And the kid that was with me got scared to death. I said, that's just a deer. It's just a deer. It's broad daylight. We got up on top anyway. And there's an old log road sets back in there a ways, and I said, just keep your eyes open. And as we're walking along, I see this old log road come down. I said, well, let's start here. You take one side of the log road, and I'll take the other. And the log road roughly comes up damn close to where this hedgerow goes all the way down the river. There's a log road just the other side of it. And we weren't there 15, 20 minutes, and I'm walking it, so I get right to the edge of the bank where it goes just like that down to the Pontley River. And I said, oh, for Christ's sakes, it's just like if you had a foot that big. And the ball was on top of the crease, and you went forward to go down, the push and the pressure. You guys, Bill had the cast. It was perfect toes, perfect heel, the whole 9 yards. So I covered it up, made a makeshift box out of wood and whatnot, and colored it. And he come down, and took the cast of it. And of course, unfortunately, that got broke. And that was the end of that ordeal. I mean, we were told to keep our mouths shut, being police officers. My job was threatened. I had to actually practically remove or throw reporters from Channel 6 and them out. I had to have my phone number changed. I've done talks on it at Castle State College and had a woman twice my size going to beat me up, to more or less threaten me that I was a fake, a phony, and people like me should be behind bars or an insane asylum, so on and so forth. But anyway, before all this happened, guys, now this is what people don't want to hear. Now, if everybody did their homework, I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 would come up with the same thing. For about a month prior to all of this, off and on for weeks, we had UFO reports every freaking night. Now, there were state troopers that saw them. There were cops that saw them. The chief of police saw them. Sheriffs that saw them. And I'm talking from New Hampshire clear down to New York City all the way upstate. And it's odd because if you do your homework, and I mean do your homework, whenever these things are above and about, within 2 or 3 weeks to a month, you have sightings. Mark my words. Do your homework. And I brought this up to these other people. They don't even want to hear about it. I said, everybody wonders why you can't see them, why you can't find them. Well, the government don't want you to believe there's UFOs either. And anybody on the face of this earth that believes we're the only living creatures on the millions of planets that are out there has got something wrong up there, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's I worked for a man for years and years who was an Air Force colonel. He's retired now. He's a local man. He said, Brian, he said, if they would allow the things that we saw in the sky while we were flying, even just to go back and forth to Vietnam, he said, but we get brought back, they put in, I forgot what he called it, they're whitewashed. You might as well say they're whitewashed. Keep your mouth shut. That man could make your hair stand up on ends of things they saw. But anyway, like I said, it's just odd that all these reports came, and within 3 weeks to a month, we had this. And if you do your homework, you go back on all these. Within a week to a month, you have sightings. And that's the way it's been. But the original night, there was 4 sheriffs, 2 state troopers, and my father, who was a sergeant on the PD, all out here. And it was all over in this area where they saw everything. And the sheriff saw it going up that tree line. Now, you got to realize that grass right there is 4.5 foot tall, and it was like this then. And that thing towered above the grass, way over to that hedgerow. And I'll go up and point out where they marked the height of this thing on this telephone pole right here. Now, I'm 6 foot. And I'll point to this spot that's on the pole. This has been marked since day one. This is where the thing was originally, was right here.
So this is going to be the original marking right up there.
This is the original marking, yeah. This is the height at the top of the head. Right there. Now I'm 6 foot, and there's another 3. There's the original. That's where they said it was, right there. But you hear that noise when you're walking through this? That's what I heard coming across that meadow that night. And I'm wondering, what is it? You know, waiting for that minute to flip the light on. It just got to the point where I was getting paranoid. I was scared, but not coward scared, you know. It's like going up Sack and Dog and being in the woods where the bears are. You hear something coming, is it a bear? One of those kind of deals. But when I finally saw it, I mean, it's God bless me, I saw it. I don't care what anybody ever says or tries to tell me, because I'm a fortunate one. I got to see it. I didn't keep my mouth shut. For years I did, because my job was threatened, and like I said, I took a lot of guff over the telephone. Even with you guys doing this, there's been 3 other people that have done this. Been something in a paper about it. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings, Sasquatch. I got all kidding aside, I just got a newspaper clipping, Bill. I threw it through the garbage. Somebody from the state of Vermont got a Whitehall Times. You remember the headlines, Bigfoot, the movie people? Right. And they had a little Sasquatch like this on top of the headlines. They cut a little hole out, stuck a picture of me in there, my face. It says, with an arrow. Is it real? Well, I got that in the mail. This was like, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months after they did the movie. But I believe there's something here, and I believe it's still here, and there's something here that doesn't belong here, because what I saw was no man-made creature. It's a for real thing. And there's 7 other police officers that would attest to it, but most of them are retired now. Well, of course, my dad's gone, but they would attest to it. Their jobs can't be threatened anymore. They're all retired.
That's right. They can talk about it now.
That's right. We were told to keep our mouths shut more times than you can shake a stick at. And back then, I mean, you had to work was work, and I kept my mouth shut. I locked my door. I'd go home, lock my door, and like I said, reporters would come bang on the door. And I even got a phone call from Ted Koppel way back then. But anyway, we just let it go and let it slide as it was, and I kept my mouth shut and whatnot. And as I got older, I said, well, other people deserve to know the true story, because all I've ever seen is people want to make a videotape and put in what they want in the tape. They don't want the facts. They don't want the whole 9 yards. But what I saw, like I said, was 7 to 8 foot tall, 350, 400 pounds. It was huge, and it was real. This was not a man-made anything. And that's the extent of that.
Fantastic. Just so I get, so the boys have the sighting over here, right?
Yeah, this
so
were all
right.
over
so
here.
you were over here.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure I film this and get
The
this
second
through.
night I was over there in that meadow.
Pat. And where is that's the tree line where the cop was parked?
That right where he was on the other side of that tree. Let's see, there's 1 second, 3rd telephone pole from here, 4th one actually, count that one. He was up on the back side of that, right up on that sharp corner. Just come down. Of course, that was a field too, and those houses weren't there. You got to realize there was no houses here. 2 houses on this road. Now there's what, 10? Excuse me.
So when you get these calls and you get harassed, what does that do to you?
I hang up. It used to bother me. It used to bother me big time. Like I said, the worst one was when I went. What was his name? Bill, that guy over at Castle College. He was the teacher, the professor, Dr. Warren Cook. He called me up and wanted me to come over and talk about it, so on and so forth. And I said I'd get back to him. Well, he called me 3, 4 times. I finally agreed to it, and I was on stage with 6, 7 other people. One other guy from New York. I couldn't tell you anybody's names because with my accent, I got short-term memory loss, so on and so forth. But there were several people from the state of Vermont that they were huge people, loggers that had experienced similar things way back in the boonies of the hills of Vermont, so on and so forth. But that one woman, I don't remember her name. She was a huge, huge, huge woman, and she met me out in the hall, and boy, she laid right into me like she was the nutcase. I mean, she shouldn't even have been there, but Dr. Cook come right out and told her, you either get out and leave, or he said, you will be arrested. And security took her out of the place. I don't know why, but like I said, a lot of it was just phone calls, like people were drinking, maybe they read the story and it bust my buns, but I just hung about them. Now it don't bother me no more. It don't bother me no more. I figure, look at it this way, I'm the fortunate one. They're the losers. That's something I'll go to the grave with. You know.
Yep.
But everybody wanted it to be something, but then we were told to keep our mouths shut, and then they didn't want it to be anything. Now this last ordeal with what's her face and the rest of them, I got no what do you call it? Not reply, but from the village of Whitehall, from the mayor, all these people, I got no input from them for my part. You think they'd call up and say thanks for doing the movie about what? I got nothing. To this day, I don't even know if they even want to, you know, if they believe in it or anything else, because I still get the giggles and the sneers from different people in Whitehall. But there's older people in Whitehall than I am that saw it. They don't bother them people. Two of them are businessmen. Ex-police officer besides. But, well, what's his face there? That's Sparks. Got the golf course. And, but it's, somebody, I forgot who it was. Somebody even wanted to hypnotize me. Hypnotize me. One of them, two or three of them wanted me to take lie detector tests. Bring it up. Bring it up. Do what you got to do. Well, that right on the rug, you know. But every time to this day, even to tell that story, I get goosebumps. It's
Well, I can tell you.
it's etched in my head. I mean, I can still see it. It's something you've got to experience.
I know Brian for 28 years, and the story doesn't vary any today than it did there 28 years ago when I first heard it. And he wasn't reluctant to talk to me all these years. You know, we've been close, and so I'm telling you straight out, what he's telling you is the way it happened 28 years ago.
Do you ever try to do any research or try to go out looking at all?
Yeah, I've been back down in here, and I did. I was telling about the footprint where I built the thing around it. You took the cast of it, and unfortunately, that cast got broke because it was. I mean, you could see the outline of the foot, the toes, and I'm talking a foot that was like this, that wide in the front, and it was just perfect. It didn't have to be the only one because the way it stood, I'd probably use this foot and step down to go down, and you could actually see where it curled, the toes did, and pushed in the bank to go down, but it's right downhill all the way. Now, me and my girlfriend, from time to time, we take the boat, and I go all the way up through there. There's not a trip on the boat. I'll roll up in there almost a mile. There's not a day that we go in there a boat that I'm not close to shore looking for footprints. It's just up here. I don't know if they're still here. I mean, there's still sightings from time to time here and there, but I've talked to, since that back in the 70s, there's been two different hunters. Bill Jones is one of them. I can't remember the other guy. He's from Pipe Brook that used to hunt down in here, deer hunt. And he himself said he'd come out of the woods. He said, I don't want to talk about it. He says, what I saw, what I smelt, what I heard, he says, I won't go back there. And Bill's retired from the railroad. He's in the church, all that stuff, big time. But he says, I know there was something there. He said, what I saw, what I heard, and what I smelled. He said, I don't want to go back there. And he told me that probably 6 months to a year after the initial sighting here. But it's just weird that nobody wanted to get involved, and now that this is coming out more, everybody wants to get involved, you know? But, you know, you can have any story you want and make it up and put in anything you want, but the truth is the truth. And one of the things I still will express one more time is that, in my experience, with all you got to do is do your homework with sightings within a month. From this point to a month, there's usually UFO sightings, not too far off. And I've always thought that you put two and two together, I come up with 4. They want to know why you can't find this, you can't find that. Well, maybe because they're up there, they're not down here. Maybe they're down here collecting something, looking for something. I mean, I've but heard of, so has Bill, about young ones being seen with young ones. Maybe they're down here to give birth. I don't know. But I know what I saw, and if I had to guess at anything, that was definitely a male that I saw. For the size and the tone. And they talked about squealing like a pig, yes, but a deep tone pig like this, if it squealed. But it wasn't a pig squeal, it was more like not a woman's scream either. All I know is it makes your hair stand up on ends. But when it brought its hands, paws up, it was like, I mean, I could see individual here. I didn't see like a bear paw. I saw individual stuff here. But it was in pain. I could figure it being more or less nocturnal with that kind of light a little farther than that pole away. I mean, it probably hurt. That's the way I took it, because that's when it turned and just started doing its thing across the meadow. And I wish Jim had stayed. But anyway, I never even finished. I went back to the Silver Diner after all this was over. I was off duty and Jim was still on. He was waiting for me, state trooper on duty. And he's just sitting there, and I looked at him, and he's shaking. He was shaking. He said, "Did you see it? Did you see it?" And I told him. I said, "If you'd have stayed, you'd have saw it." Hey, well, there was something in front of me. I said, "If you'd have stayed, you'd have saw it." That was it. He was done. But he denied it up to quite some time ago, and he's in Hawaii now. He runs some kind of a security company in Hawaii, in the state of Hawaii. That's where he is now. But he has talked to people, from what I understand, since then, and said, yeah, he saw something. Didn't say exactly what, but he saw something.
I find that funny because Hawaii is the only state in the United States that hasn't had a Bigfoot.
Well, maybe that's why he's there. But
So, if you could briefly describe exactly what you think this is, how would you describe it? Not just physically, but I mean, you're saying that you believe it's connected with UFO sightings, so.
missing link, I guess. You know, that's been thrown at me several times, but it's more, to me, it's more human-like than it was animal-like. I mean, I can still see the back of it. It's like, I don't know if you ever seen a dog that had the mange where the hair was falling out, but this thing was healthy in the sense. I mean, the hair was long hair too. It wasn't short, thick hair. It was long hair. It was to me, if I had to guess a color, it would be a dark red, and it was long. It was long hair because you could see it roll. It was rolled. I don't know if it had laid down, but like all this was all clay. You could tell there was dirt and clay, like it had, I don't know, laying on its back or falling down, not curled up in a fetal position, but like it had laid down because you could see all that stuff there. And it was just, it took me a while because it was initially a shock, and then when I sat down and started thinking, when I actually calmed down, like 2-3 days later, is when things started clicking. What I saw, because I was never a trained police officer at that time through an academy, but you also, it's OJT. You learn to look for things that everybody else misses, and that's, like I said, the muscular behind. But it was wide. It was wide. It was tall, and it was very large. I can't remember a mouth. I really can't even remember a neck. It's like this, like a big, hefty football player. I can't remember a neck. But the head. I don't remember like a brow like we've got. I remember something. It was dark. It was all dark, but it probably had hair there. But I know it had hair here. I couldn't even remember ears. Of course, it was dark, but that showed up a lot. The spotlight showed up an awful lot. I remember I can see it. I still see it turning, and it just swayed. No running. I mean, it was like a fast walk. I mean, he was covering probably 8 feet, 9 feet in 2 steps or so. And I mean, it was just long strides. We tried to do the strides here because this grass was pretty well matted down with the path going across here. I mean, we were stretching out like this to do it. Because it actually went that night, according to my dad, was almost in a straight line from this pole over to that pole to the left side of that second pole over there, and went up that hedgerow. And that's when the sheriff, see, there was cops down there by that telephone pole, and there were cops here, and everybody had spotlights going. And that's when they picked it up on that hedgerow way up in there. And like you said, it was huge then. But you see the tallest grass was, and the grass was the same way then. And it was on that hedgerow going up, and that's all meadows. And of course, you got the farm up there. But it was the next night is when I see it out here. And it comes from the Fall Riverside.
Mention how many nights it was you went without sleep.
I went a lot of nights without sleep. I relived this thing. I mean, I kept seeing it, and I'd wake up. I was a nervous wreck for a while, I'll be honest with you. Between seeing what I saw, people saying you were nuts, people saying that was all made up, being under pressure of keeping your mouth shut or losing your job. I went a long time. It took me quite a while to get over it. I mean, totally, probably a couple of years. And like I said, I had to have my phone number changed because of the prank calls and so on and so forth. And because I was a young man back then, I was in my 20s. And but now I take it with a grain of salt. Like I said, I consider myself a fortunate one, just like anybody else that's experienced this or seen what I've seen. We are fortunate.
I assume you've seen the Patterson video?
No.
Oh, you've never seen it?
No.
Okay.
Patterson? No.
The famous video of the Bigfoot?
Oh, the one out in Oregon or someplace?
Yeah.
I've seen it just on TV. I've seen it.
How does what you saw compare to that?
it wasn't slouched forward, and the span on that thing was, to me, that thing I saw was more ape-like than human. What I saw I don't remember nothing walking like this. It was more or less just like you or I would walk with the arms swinging. I mean, nobody walks perfectly like this, but this thing, it was just like a soldier, put it that way, back across the field. Seemed to be in a hurry to get back that way, that's all I know. But I've been asked, I don't know, by everybody that's ever interviewed me, why didn't you shoot it? The thought crossed my mind, like I said, my life flashed before my eyes a lot in that instant. Maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds total. And it kept going through my mind, what if it is a man in a monkey suit? You're murdering somebody. What if it's a prank and you shoot? You know, I'm thinking about going to here. I'm a police officer. I'm going to go to jail for doing what? Why didn't you do it? I didn't want to do it. I felt like I'd be killing missing link. I'm killing. It'd be like killing a unicorn. One in a million. You know. I thought about it, but I couldn't do it, and I'm really glad I didn't. But to this day today, if I had an option to shoot to kill, no. To maim it, to prove it, yeah, I would. I've thought about that dozens of times. I would not shoot to kill it. Because there's something in this thing that we need to know, as far as I'm concerned. There's something we need to learn from this thing.
You recall saying to me there, I first asked you the question, why didn't you shoot? You said you had to be there, and I could ask you the same question.
Exactly.
Exact quote.
Exactly. You've got to be there. I mean, you've got to be put in that same situation. Are you going to, would you or not? Maybe if I'd have been somebody just off the street that just happened to see it, but that wasn't my instinct, was not to kill it. It was not to kill. I mean, I can't say it didn't think, the thought was there, but I couldn't pull the trigger, and I could have killed it. I could have took it right there. I could have took it right there. It's 357, I mean, it goes straight through that.